This short video will explain the process for the cancellation of registration and revocation thereof under GST and also the circumstances under which registration is suspended. The registration granted under GST law can be cancelled or suspended for specific reasons. Cancellation may be initiated either by the registered person or by the tax officer. During pendency of the proceedings relating to cancellation of registration, the registration is deemed to be suspended. During the suspension period, the person shall not make any taxable supply, that is, he cannot issue tax invoice, will not be required to furnish any return under Section 39, will not be granted any refund under Section 54. A taxpayer or legal heirs can apply for cancellation of registration where business has been discontinued or transferred fully for any reason like sale, merger, demerger, amalgamation, death of sole proprietor, etc. Change in constitution of the business. If the business is no longer covered under the mandatory requirement of registration under Section 24 of the CGST Act, the aggregate turnover falls below the threshold limit prescribed under Section 22 of the CGST Act. The taxpayer wants to discontinue the voluntary registration obtained under Section 25 of the CGST Act. A registered person or legal heir wanting to cancel the GST registration must visit GST portal www.gst.gov.in and submit Form GST Reg 16 along with prescribed details of payment against any tax liability, if any, and documents within a period of 30 days of the occurrence of events warranting cancellation. From the date of submission of application or from the date from which cancellation has been sought, the registration is deemed to be suspended. The proper officer shall, after conducting the necessary inquiries, cancel the registration by order in Form GST Reg 19 within 30 days from the date of application. The proper officer may issue a show cause notice in Form GST Reg 17 if he is not satisfied with the request for cancellation of registration. The reply to show cause notice shall be furnished by the applicant in Form GST Reg 18 within a period of 7 working days. If the reply to the show cause notice is found to be satisfactory, the proper officer will pass cancellation order in Form GST Reg 19. If the proper officer is not satisfied, he will reject the request for cancellation of registration. If the proper officer has reasons to believe that the registration of a person is liable to be cancelled on account of any of the following reasons, a show cause notice in Form GST Reg 17 will be served. If the taxpayer has contravened the prescribed provisions of the GST Act or the rules made thereunder, if the composition taxpayer has not furnished the return for a financial year beyond 3 months from the date of furnishing the said return, if the taxpayer other than composition taxpayer has not furnished monthly return for a continuous period of 6 months or quarterly return for a continuous 2 tax periods, if the taxpayer who has obtained voluntary registration did not commence business within 6 months from the date of registration, if the registration has been obtained by means of fraud, willful misstatement or suppression of facts, if the taxpayer does not conduct any business from the declared place of business, if the taxpayer issues invoices or bill without supply of goods or services or both in violation of the provisions of the Act or rules made thereunder, if the taxpayer violates the provisions of Section 171 of the CGST Act or violates the provisions of Rule 10A or Rule 86B of the CGST rules. If the taxpayer avail ITC in violation of the provisions of Section 16 of the CGST Act or rules made thereunder. If the taxpayer furnishes details of outward supplies in Form GSTR1 for one or more tax periods, which is in excess of the outward supplies declared by him in Form GSTR3B for the said tax period. The proper officer, having reason to believe that the registration of a person is liable to be cancelled, shall issue a show cause notice in Form GST Reg 17. The registration is deemed to be suspended from a date to be determined by the proper officer. On receipt of the show cause notice, the recipient shall submit the reply in Form GST Reg 18 within a period of 7 working days, stating why his registration shall not be cancelled. If the reply to the show cause notice is found to be satisfactory, or the registered person furnishes all the pending returns and makes full payment of due tax, interest and late fee, the proper officer will drop the cancellation proceedings and pass an order in Form GST Reg 20. If the reply to the show cause notice is found not to be satisfactory, the proper officer shall issue an order of cancellation and pass an order in Form GST Reg 19. Such cancellation would be effective from the date determined by the officer passing the order of cancellation. Please remember that the cancellation of registration will not affect the liability of the person for payment of tax and other dues under the GST Act and rules prior to the date of cancellation. When the GST registration has been automatically suspended by the GST portal and not by the proper officer on account of non-filing of returns, the same will automatically be revoked upon furnishing all the pending returns and full payment of tax along with interest, penalty and late fee, provided the cancellation order in Form GST Reg 19 has not been issued. Upon cancellation of registration, the person shall file a final return in Form GSTR 10 within 3 months of the date of cancellation or the date of the order of cancellation, whichever is later. A registered person whose registration has been cancelled by the proper officer on his own motion may submit an application for the revocation in Form GST Reg 21 within 30 days from the date of issuance of the order of cancellation on GST portal. The time for submission of application for revocation can be extended by the jurisdictional joint or additional commissioner for a period not exceeding 30 days by the jurisdictional commissioner for a further period not exceeding 30 days. In case the registration was cancelled because of the failure to file the requisite returns, then the application for revocation can be filed only after submission of all pending returns and payment of tax along with interest, penalty and late fee. After examining the application, if the proper officer is satisfied that there are sufficient grounds to revoke the cancellation, he shall issue an order revoking the cancellation in Form GST Reg 22 within a period of 30 days from the date of receipt of the application for revocation. However, upon examination of the application, if the proper officer is not satisfied, a show cause notice will be issued in Form GST Reg 23. The applicant should reply to the show cause notice in Form GST Reg 24 within a period of 7 working days from the date of service of show cause notice. If the proper officer is satisfied with the reply, the cancellation of registration will stand revoked void order in Form GST Reg 22. However, if the proper officer is still not satisfied with the reply, the application for revocation of cancellation will be rejected void order in Form GST Reg 5, where cancellation of registration is revoked on returns due for the period from the date of order of cancellation or effective date of cancellation in case of cancellation with retrospective effect till the date of the order of revocation of cancellation of registration shall be furnished by the applicant with a period of 30 days from the date of order of revocation of cancellation of registration. For more information, please visit www.cbic.gov.in.